Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk Season 4 Ulfr. One of my favourite hunter models, and probably the model I was most looking forward to seeing the rules for after Scatha herself. Season 3 Ulfr was described as a car crash of design. His rules fought themselves. He wanted to do damage, he wanted to do dodges, he wanted to do tackles all at once and couldn't, and a lot of people were very unhappy with him. As I played more games with him, I began to change my opinion and appreciate him more, but he was still a very difficult model to work with. Now I think we're in a good place. So what changed? Well, he got faster. 6'8 is decent, if not extravagant. And with Scatha's fast ground on tap, that'll be 8'10, which is very, very nice for a striker. His kick stat has been increased to 3'8, which is really nice. I'm very happy with that. 8-inch kick, that used to just be Egret's domain, and it felt so exciting and a bit like cheating, I'll be honest, whenever I managed to get her to make a kick on goal. And so having another 3'8 kick in Ulfr alongside Egret and Matagi just makes me so happy. And finally, his playbook got a redesign. Most importantly is this momentous tackle on 2. It was absolutely criminal that this wasn't momentous before. The playbook damage potential has decreased, and it has shortened by 1 column. The joke in Season 3 was that he was supposed to be some kind of monster rap machine, and the dice maths for that was just hilariously bad. Now getting the rap is more achievable, and if you've managed to set things up properly with Scatha's Blessing, less necessary, because he's now not trying to trigger Blood Scent to make his kick go up by doing some damage and get a dodge out of it and somehow try to get this to hit the tackle. As really the only time Ulfr wants to be within combat is when he's diving in to get the ball. Something we do seem to be missing, which was on his old playbook, is this nice momentous tackle dodge on the 3rd column. Gone now, it seems. And this is the symbol of Ulfr in his role as 100% Scatha boy toy, and the fact that she does not share her boy toys with Theron. So this playbook is clearly designed around the idea that Ulfr will be benefiting from one of Scatha's blessings, either her Blessing of the Moon Goddess, which gives him a double dodge in addition to any other results he might select on his next attack, and so we see a momentous tackle double dodge on his 2nd column is quite a nice result, or a double momentous tackle triple dodge if he wrapped to the 1. We could get to Magical Christmas Land and say he wraps to the 2 and get a 2 damage quadruple momentous double momentous quadruple dodge tackle, which, if you're wondering, is a 17.2% chance of occurring if he charges the model with a 4-1 defense and he's got Lone Hunter up. Should have mentioned Lone Hunter. It's the same as before, and it gives him extra 2 tack if he's not within 4 inches of another friendly model. And I really like that they kept this. It's a pretty janky rule, which I know was one of the things that people accused of being an anti-synergy, as normally you want to surround models with your own models to make them easier to hit, and doing so just sort of wastes this ability on Ulfr. But this is not a counter-synergy. This is a synergy for how Scatha's team like to play. We like to spread out, and I always liked that this rule encouraged you to follow that style of play. Plus it's a fun little mini game to try to get Ulfr his extra tack. And yeah, so a 6 tack striker with a 4 long playbook with access to some really incredible dodging buffs. Did I mention Scatha's legendary also gives him a dodge to any attack he selects, as long as he's in her aura, and that will stack with her blessing. He really could go some crazy distance. But it's now also worth remembering that with the addition of the Falconer's Guild, we have Minerva and her ranged singled out I Spy ability, which if you're playing the game right will put Ulfr at tack 8, going to 12 dice if he charges, 13 if you bonus time, and now that wrap to the 6, 2 damage double dodge tackle is a 50% chance against a 4-1 model. Not looking so incredibly crazy anymore. I also really like that he kept his ambush rule, which costs enemy models an extra momentum when if they want a defensive stance Ulfr's charge. And this was a nice little rule, possibly underappreciated, given how difficult Ulfr was to use. This leads me into talking a bit about his playstyle, because Ambush is quite demonstrative of it. So as far as I've seen, there are really two main ways to play a match with Ulfr. I'll talk about the way I used to do in Season 3 first. In this approach, Ulfr's sort of the backup goal scorer, so I'll be aiming to score first with Scatha or another model at the end of, say, turn 1. Try to win the initiative and then go first with Ulfr. Ulfr goes for the ball and tries to score the second goal, or pass the person who just scored and get a snapshot goal. Either way, after that, he's going to die pretty horribly. Probably be out of the game, and I'll have to try to clinch it with another goal from someone else, or more likely through some kills. Now I'm coming around to the idea that this was the weaker of the two approaches, and I'll speak to the other one in a second. But this way of playing him relied on two things. One was ambush. Going at the top of the turn when the enemy only had one momentum meant that they couldn't defensive stance and could only choose the counter-attack, which meant that Ulfr was more likely to get a usable result from his charge. The second thing was this momentous tackle dodge, which if the enemy kicked out the ball to a model with a 1-inch engagement, and the times this worked, that was the case, this result was a pretty good one. If they had a 2-inch engagement, then you were hoping to wrap to the 1 to get the double dodge, tackle, and momentum. And newsflash, that was pretty hard to do, because models holding the ball, had good defenses, or they were in cover, or they were having their friends crowd Ulfr out, and it wasn't often that they were snared, etc. Now let's look at how things work in Season 4. Momentous Tackle on 2 is brilliant, assuming he's got Tack 6. And as I've mentioned, if you've got Scatha's Blessing to give it some innate dodges as well, that's just amazing. Amazing. But if you're going at the start of the turn, you don't have that Blessing. And so what did previously require 3 successes now requires 5. And Ulfr doesn't really have the influence to start playing around with tackling the ball back, especially if he charged in for the first attack like intended. So I'm going to say the loss of that tackle dodge hurts a little bit. And I'm not really sure it makes a huge amount of difference, to have a Blessing and the tackle dodge on 2, or a triple tackle dodge on 3, or even 4, or even non-momentous. But him not having it, I don't know about significantly, but it would seem to me to cut his independence down quite a bit. Ulfr in this kind of incarnation is still heavily reliant on setup from Scatha. And that's not a bad thing. Players should need to support each other to get the best use out of them, and I'm all for the game being designed in that way, but it does influence how you're going to play him. Which brings me to the second way of using Ulfr, and that is to take the first goal with him. So with the general across-the-board improvements to the Ulfr team, to the Hunters team, getting Ulfr across the pitch to score a goal on turn 1 has never been easier. He's got a pretty good chance of getting that goal, kicking or receiving, and then he is going to die. That's fine. With a fresh turn, Scatha's team have much better tools for ball retrieval, to intercept the ball, or if the enemy scores Scatha's ball, amazing now. Then the ball gets kicked out again, and we can hopefully manage to get the little back goal. Has come back on one of the wings, looking ripe to give the enemy another easy takeout. Which brings me to the second way of using Ulfr, and that is to take the first goal with him. With the across-the-board improvements to the Hunter team, this has never been easier. He's got a pretty good chance of getting that goal, kicking or receiving, and then he's going to die. Hopefully you're able to go late enough in turn 1 that he doesn't get taken out until turn 2. But in any case, turn 2 should give you some opportunity to get the ball back and work towards that second goal. Scatha's team ball retrieval has got much better, and if the enemy score, it's back in our hands and we can look to try to get the snap back. While all that's going on, poor wounded Ulfr is crawled back onto the pitch, hopefully on one of the wings, looking ripe to give the enemy another easy takeout. But the moment we get to 8 points, his positioning here starts to exert quite a lot of pressure. Ulfr gets the ball and scores, or passes it to someone else who will, in the same activation. That's just what he does. And at this point later on in the game, you've had more time to set up the board state to facilitate this. His new movement and kick definitely help increase his area of threat. Maybe you've got momentum, maybe some people are snared. Just helping to massage that dice math up to get the bigger results you need. Maybe you've even had time to give him a blessing, or got Scatha's legendary up to help. Either way, the risk-reward of sending him back in to get the ball, regardless of the loss of this very handy tackle dodge result, is weighted much more in favour of reward. I'm postulating. So in this second method of using him, we're setting things up so that he has two opportunities to have a major impact on the game, both of which times he's more likely to benefit from other players helping set him up to improve chances of success, rather than relying on him going it alone with just his ambush trait and hopefully lone hunter to try to carry the day. So I believe this is how better players than myself were using him in Season 3, and I can only see that it's more effective in Season 4. And I should mention that him coming back on the pitch is influencing the game probably enough just by the fact that he's threatening a certain area of the board. It's reducing the space in which the ball is safe, and if the enemy is forced to kick it out on the other flank, then maybe we're able to predict or encourage that and have someone else waiting there ready to pounce. So that's how I envisage using Ulfr, and I think when you take him, your game plan revolves around him. What else did I want to talk about? His defensive capabilities. I was sort of hoping Steve Forge would make Ulfr more survivable. 16 health is more than a normal striker, but 4 defense, 0 armor is less. And the result is he goes down like Neymar if someone with a couple of damage on their playbook looks him funny. But you can't have everything, and given how dangerous he is with the ball, it's just something to live with. It's possible his counterattacks got slightly better. I don't think you're going to be using Scatter's Blessing the Moon Goddess for with the idea of using it for counterattacks. But you could, and her legendary aura to add some dodges to his playbook helps him out. But with a 1-inch melee zone, I never count on being able to get a counterattack off. Possibly Snow's improved pack hunting thing helps, but same kind of thing. I don't think he's got any more survivable. Probably the biggest thing is actually his increase in movement and kick range. Just being able to stay an extra inch or two out of trouble before diving in might be the biggest boost he got to staying on his feet. We'll see. So in terms of synergies with other models, true to his character concept as a lone hunter, he really doesn't have that many, and is essentially Ulfr and Scather against the world. Although Veteran Hearn's Last Light and Veteran Minx's Blessing of the Sunfather can be quite useful to get that cheap where'd they go, and Zarola can take one of those instead and help pull him back from danger with her Midnight Offering, but really he's just looking for Scatter's Blessing of the Moon Goddess to go off on a wild goal hunt. So that brings us to when to take Ulfr. Well, as far as I can see, he's pretty much Scatter exclusive. I really don't see what he adds to a Theron team. And you bring him as before when Scatter is looking to win with goals and or looking to get round some goalkeeping tech. He's just much better equipped, or rather his partnership with Scather is much more smoothly designed to enable this. Now Scatter's got access to lots of other fast goal scoring models like Matagi, J-Car, Veteran Minx, Egret, and playing for a 2-2 game and leaving Ulfr on the bench is completely doable, it seems. But even back when he was fairly crap, he could reliably get a goal, and now the relationship with Scather has been smoothed considerably. I think that extra reliability is going to pay for itself, and potentially even enable the 3-0 goal game. What will be super interesting to see is how he works in a more balanced take-out and goal team, say one including Cena and Ulfr. I really hope that works. I gotta admit I'm skeptical. Ulfr still seems really influence greedy. He's basically a model to build the team around, and even though Cena got an extra influence to bring, with the loss of Furious, I'm just not convinced the resource distribution will work. I'm definitely going to try to prove myself wrong there though. So that's my hot take on Ulfr. Please feel free to share your own thoughts in the comments, and until the next one, take care.